Hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm Camila. This is Hasty Books, and today I'm going to be, right now, I'm going to be reviewing the books from the Booker longlist that I've read, and this video is going to be actually my reaction to the shortlist, but I'm filming both separately, and it's raining really heavily, so if you hear any raindrops, that's what it is. I'm really pleased to say that I've read already 5 of the books that were longlisted for the Booker this year. I have 2 more here. I really don't think I'll have time to finish them by Tuesday. So obviously I'm filming this just a few days before the shortlist is announced, so I don't think I'll be finishing them. But we'll see. So I'm going to give my review of the first 5 books, and then I'll discuss what I think my predictions might be. The first book that I read was Small Things Like These by Keegan. This is a really short book based over kind of like a day, Christmas Day in Ireland, and it's kind of about the oppressive presence of the church and the treatment that they did and how people kind of turn a blind eye. It's really, really short. I think it's only 100 and something pages. So it was a really quick read. I really enjoyed it. I feel like it was a really good short story in that way because it's kind of concise, it's to the point, it packs a punch, and like it says a lot in not a lot of pages, but I did feel that it was a bit moralistic in that way. Like it was obvious what it was trying to say, and you know, like almost like the black and white of like doing the good thing versus doing the bad thing. But generally, I think I enjoyed it. I'm glad I read it. Will it stay something in my brain forever? I don't think so. I think it's a bit forgettable in that way because it's short and I don't think there is enough time to be with the characters. But yeah, that's just my wee thoughts on that one. Next, I read another short one, Treacle by Garner. I actually read it twice. Well, I listened to the audiobook twice. And I want to listen to it a 3rd time, I think, because honestly, I have no idea what happened in that book. I was reading some tweets, you know, online about how people were like, you know, readers don't have to be spoon-fed information, you know, use your imagination. And that's what that book is about. But I also felt like, where is this going? It's difficult to Google stuff and to search for information. We have no idea where to start. Like sometimes there would be line and I would be like, ooh, that sounds like interesting. So I would Google it. And sometimes it would come up with something, but not always. So yeah, it's a book to read with attention and like slowly and to kind of immerse yourself in, but only if you're in the mood for that kind of vibe, which is a little bit absurdist. Absurdist, is that even a word? Anyway, like an absurdism anyway, and a little bit fantasy. There was a bit of everything in there. To me, I think it was on Bob the Booker's review of this book that I wrote. To me, it was kind of like Lord of the Rings without the lore. It felt like if we had Frodo talking to Gandalf for like 100 pages, it would lead nowhere. Like I wouldn't be attached to those characters. I wouldn't have an adventure in that. So to me, it was really lacking something. I understand why for the people reading these books and making this list, it would have been something out of the ordinary, 100%. But I think it was a difficult book. And it's not one that I don't think I would recommend. Yeah. Next, I read another one that I have mild feelings about. It was A William by Elizabeth Strout. I got a copy from the library and I decided to just read it. And then I saw that there was a huge list of people waiting for it and I thought, okay, I'll just read it. It's actually really short as well. Even though I have never read anything by Strout, including her previous books in the kind of Lucy Barton series. I feel like there's another one coming as well very soon. Lucy on the Beach or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, I thought that it read fine as its own book, like in the sense that you got a good sense of this main character. You got, you know, some of her past, obviously with her husband who passed away, with her ex-husband, William, that she talks a lot about, her daughters, and you get like a good vision of all that. what I didn't like was actually the character. I think she was a wet blanket of a character. I don't really like her. And to me, I think why I kept reading was like the language of the book, the way it's written is very like accessible in terms of it's very familiar. It feels like someone's talking to you. So that's kind of cool. But it gets annoying after a while. I found the, oh, you know what I mean. Oh, by that I mean this. Oh, yes, like that. I just thought that wasn't a style that I particularly enjoyed. And I feel like that was really bizarre to me that this character says that they're a writer and they're writing this sort of like a book. And I'm like, but it's not really written like a book. But Elizabeth Strout wrote that book. So I was just like, I felt a bit meta in that way. But I don't feel like this is a character that I want to follow. Her husband was really annoying as well. I actually would have liked to read more about the daughters, if anything. But yeah, so I don't know if Strout is an author for me. I may try something else. Olive Kitteridge maybe, just because I don't think Lucy Barton is a character that I particularly enjoy. But I don't know, like if you've read this one, have you read the other books? Did you have the same like feeling about the character? Like I would love to know what people thought. Maybe as a recommendation if you enjoy Strout, you know. Next I read The Trees by Percival Everett. That was actually, I really, really enjoyed that book. I think it's might be the top one on my list. Yeah, I think it is. I think it's a top book on my list that I've read. It was so funny. There was bits like that I was laughing out loud, and I kept telling my husband, I was like, oh, this is a really funny book. And he was like, what is it about? I'm like, I guess it's about lynching and racism. And he was just like, okay, how was that funny? And I struggled to say how I found it funny. But they were just lines that I thought were just so self-aware in their ridiculous kind of notion of America and like racism and the history of, you know, like of lynching. And then obviously it's these white people being murdered. And I just thought it was, yeah, there were lots of really funny, like the bits on with the KKK, I thought the KKK meetings were really funny and absurd. I also really enjoyed that it was saying something profound, even though it was like funny and sometimes ridiculous. I feel like there was a lot of really real moments. Like there's a whole chapter at some point where it's the names of everyone who's been lynched in the US. Obviously for me, the more modern it got, the more I recognize the names, obviously, that we've heard on TV of Black men who have been killed. And I thought that was really powerful. And I Googled Percival Everett, and I really like what he had to say about, you know, wanting... It would be easy for him to write a book that was dramatic, but writing a funny book about such a powerful subject was... for him more interesting, but also he thought that maybe he could reach more people that way. It definitely like makes you think as well as laugh, and I definitely want to read other things by Everett, so I've added him on my list of authors that I want to kind of keep reading for sure. Next, the last book that I finished on this list is The Colony by Audrey Magee, another Irish book, and I have a lot of thoughts about this one. I'll try to keep it concise. But I really, really enjoyed it, I think. It's a book that really made me think. And I think that was really good and positive. And I think that, obviously, a lot of the books that I've read haven't been the ones that look like they were just going to be gut-wrenching and horrible, basically, to read. Because that's one of my, I guess, criticism of the Booker Prize / literary fiction, is that I just don't want to feel miserable. I don't like reading about misery, especially when the author and the characters just want to just soak in the misery. I just don't like that. And I feel like a lot of these books made me think without made me feel miserable, which I think is something I particularly enjoy about that. So I feel like The Colony did that 100%. So we have an English man and a Frenchmen who go to an island off the coast of Ireland, and they kind of in a community that mostly speaks Gaelic, so Irish, And it's really interesting the way that they talk about the language, about the traditions in the community, and the weight of tradition on especially the young. And I personally, I felt really touched by it, and I feel like I could relate a lot, in a way anyway. Obviously I'm from Quebec, obviously my mother tongue is French, and in Quebec the French language is heavily protected because we're in the sea of English people, you know, with Canada and the US, and at times definitely overly protected. Like there are things that are happening right now, but I won't go into politics. But language is political in that way. And so I feel like I really related to this book in the way that, you know, speaking Irish is basically like a political act. And, you know, about protecting that language, protecting the tradition. And it's so important. And I completely agree that it's important. And I think that's why, like, with this book, like, I kept going between, like, I really agreed with the French character, even though he had his own struggle with being half, I think I want to say Algerian, but I've forgotten, and half French, and so he has his own like colonial background, and language is a colonial power. Like even French was a colonial, you know, influence and oppression, you know, when Quebec was founded or whatever, and then obviously English became a language that was the oppressive language in that way. And that's kind of what this is trying to relate in terms of English over the Irish, and obviously with the history of Ireland, the history of colonialism by England as well. Just generally, I feel like that was a really interesting message. And I think it was also really interesting that I feel like the main bad person in this book was definitely the English character. I don't think there was any redeeming things about him, and potentially in a very overtly way, like I think it could have done with being maybe a bit more like in a gray area. But what I really liked was that at times I would really feel for like the French character and him being like, that's so important to keep, you know, Irish alive and blah blah blah. But then I'd be like, oh my gosh, go away, like why are you here, like why are you a French person doing this here? And then I would really feel as well for the Irish characters, although we don't see many of them, but with some of them I really feel for them, obviously being in this traditional way of life in their island, wanting to get out of it, like the teenager who's like, oh, I want to go by James even though his name is Seamus, and it's like, and he keeps wanting to break out of that the oppression of tradition. So it's like oppression the other way. And I just thought it was so interesting because it's just, the world is not black and white, and I feel like this book really related that. And I feel like I'm just rambling on, and if you haven't read this won't make no sense. But I thought it was just fascinating the way it was talking about colonialism and oppression, and the way that there was no line. I was a bit confused, I'm not gonna lie. It was juxtaposed with moments of, and I think they were actually based on real moments and real murders during the Troubles in Northern Ireland. I really was confused about why that was in there, because I think every murder that was mentioned was obviously done by the IRA. I was wondering why that was there, but if that was maybe to juxtapose again that it's not black and white, that it's the Irish doing those murders, like being like that oppressive violence. Like I don't know why that was in there, and I didn't know what to think about it, and I feel like I would really enjoy to talk to someone about that. Also because I'm not like super you know, knowledgeable about the history of the Troubles. Like most of what I know about the Troubles I learned when I watched Dairy Girls. So I don't know that much about it, or you know, just general Irish history. So yeah, so anyway, I will wrap this up because I feel like I've ranted too much about this book. It really made me think. I really enjoyed it. Was the plot itself interesting? No, there's not really a plot. It's really character based. You follow them. You kind of, I think I kept going between like, oh, I don't like them. Oh, I really feel for them. And I think that was really interesting, like showing that, yeah, there is no black and white. That is very gray area. Unless you're English, I guess. That was really bizarre. That was like really like a line that was put there. So yeah, I think that's the one that I would personally recommend, especially if you're interested in reading about colonialism. and well, in its effects, and also about language. And finally, the last two that I actually did start but did not finish. The first one is Case Study by Graeme, Macrae, Burnet. So yes, this is a CD. I ordered the audiobook from my library and I got a CD, and I was like, oh, okay. Thankfully, my husband's really into music and in buying CDs, so he has like one thing to listen to CDs. So I've started listening to it, and I'm enjoying it up to now. Actually, I find it very interesting the way that it's dealing with a really unreliable narrator, and I really enjoy that because, again, like I was just talking with Colony, it kind of makes you think, because you can't just follow the voice and just let it kind of drive you. You're just like, what is she saying? Like, where is this going? Is this real? Like, you know, what's going on? So enjoying it up to now. We shall see where this goes. I'll try to finish it by Tuesday, and then we'll see. The second book is After Sappho by Selby, Wynn, Schwartz. Yeah. So I've started this one. Only started, and maybe like one section in. It's definitely confusing up to now. The way it's written, the way that things are going, and I feel like I have to do some Googling because there's characters and like it's based on real personalities that I don't know. So very interesting. I feel like very educative up to now for me. I don't know if I'll continue it in a way that it's not really grabbing me. If it's shortlisted, I will keep it and continue it. If it's not shortlisted, I will probably return it to the library. But yeah, we'll see. I was also really excited about The 7 Moons of Maali Almeida, but I'm still waiting for my whole library. And by waiting, I mean, I think I'm first on the list, but they've been acquiring it, so I don't know when it's going to come. If it's shortlisted, hopefully I get it and I'll be able to read it before the winner's announced, but yeah, we'll see. So let's get into some short predictions before I film my reaction on Tuesday. So of the ones that I've read, I feel like The Colony and The Trees should be shortlisted. I think those are the two main ones that I would like to see that I've read. I'm really excited about The 7 Moons of Maali Almeida, as I've said, so I would really hope, and I've heard really good things about it, so I really hope that this one gets shortlisted as well, and also that means that I have a really good reason to read it, so I think that'd be great. So that's 3. I think the shortlist is going to be 6 books. So I think I've heard really good things about Nightcrawling. It's not a book that I want to read because it actually does look miserable and I don't want to put myself through that, but I've heard really good things and people are saying it's amazing, so I will go with that one as my 4th choice. Then I will go with Maps of Our Spectacular Bodies as well. Like, loads of people have said that it's really good at, and yeah, I feel like this is one of the books that has a bit of a buzz and maybe a bit different, so I'll go with that one as my 5th choice. And as a 6th choice, I'm really struggling. I really don't think Booth or William will be shortlisted. I would say it would be between Glory and Trust. Like, I feel in terms of like gravitas and like the themes of the book, I feel like they're quite big themes, and so maybe those one of the two. But that's me. Obviously, I haven't read any of them, so I don't know. But yeah, so I think that's my 6th. So The Colony, Glory, Nightcrawling, Maps of Our Spectacular Bodies, The Trees, The 7 Moons of Maali Almeida, or potentially Trust. Yeah. So we'll see on Tuesday. I'll be right back. Obviously, the end of this video will be my reaction, and we'll see. Hello, and I'm finally back. We are the Tuesday, 6th of September, and it is 7:07, and the live stream should go up very soon, so very excited. Starting. I'm gonna have a little candy while I wait. All right, finally they're announcing the shortlist. Yay! They had a bit of a long speech, but you know, they're making a whole event out of it.
And people often ask what's it like to be a Booker judge. For us, been a wonderful, wonderful experience, a voyage of, and to marvel
Oh my goodness.
at what the English language
This
can
is
actually
not
do
stopping.
to an individual.
I swear to God, it's
society.
7:30.
They realise who they are. But
This is getting
like any
ridiculous.
great pleasures, some 6 books that are really worth getting your teeth into. And here they are, in alphabetical order.
All right.
NoViolet, Bulawayo, Glory.
Glory.
Percival, Everett, The Trees.
Yes.
Alan Garner,
Oh, of course, of course.
Shehan, Karunatilaka, The Seven Moons of
Maali, Almeida.
Maddie, Almeida.
Nice.
Claire Keegan, Small Things Like These.
Interesting. All right.
And Elizabeth Strout, Oh William.
No. Okay.
I hope that there's been a clapometer to record all that. And all we would now want to say, I think all of
Okay, I'm done listening to this man talking. We have the list. All right. That's not a list I expected. That's not a list that I like, I have to be honest. So we have Glory, The Trees. Yes, I had said that. Treacle Walker. I don't have words to talk about people deciding that that's a book worth winning potentially. I feel like they keep harping on about how Alan Garner is gonna have his birthday on the day they're announcing the winner. So I'm just like, maybe he's gonna be on a shortlist. Maybe he's going to win just for that reason. They just keep harping on about it. Then we have Small Things Like These. Actually, very surprised. I would definitely have put The Colony ahead of that. Short, sweet, but I don't know if it's prize worthy. I don't know. We have The Seven Moons of Maali, Almeida. Very pleased about that. I think that's a book that a lot of people have said is really powerful, really good. I can't wait to read it. I hope my library actually acquires it quickly and I can pick it up and read it before the winner is announced. And Oh William. I don't understand. I don't understand why. Of all of the other ones, why that one? Like, I really want someone to tell me why, because it didn't feel as impactful, as important, as well written, frankly. And it's part of a series. People always hate that. So yeah, that's kind of my initial reaction. Oh my goodness. Well, here we are. We have it. I have obviously read Oh William, The Trees, Treacle Walker, Small Things Like These. So I'm only missing Glory and The Seven Moons of Maali, Almeida. I'm hoping to be able to read The Seven Moons hopefully soon. I can't get my hands on Glory, and I probably won't care enough to try to get it if it's not in my library and stuff like that. But yeah, that means I'm actually quite close to having read the full list, so great. So I'll be able to come back before the winners announced in October and talk about, my prediction. My prediction now is Treacle Walker, but we'll see closer to time and when I've read more and stuff like that. But all right, here it is. Thank you so much for watching, and see you back. Bye.